Hi, I'm Bruce Burke, and we're back with another edition of the AI Bros. I have with me again my friend John Lawson III. How are you today, John?
Oh man, it's been a good week.
It's been a good week.
Good week. Yeah. It's always good week. AI just mind-blowing headlines all the time. So, you know, it's a fun industry to watch, at least for now, until I get
Very,
bored.
yeah, no, like I said, when I skip even a day in the newsletter, I feel like I'm totally like out of sync with like what's going on in the whole industry because like everything changed overnight. It's crazy.
Yeah. Usually. Who's
So
on top this week?
what's some of the cool stuff you've done with the AI this week?
Well, I mean, I don't know if we talked about AI with shopping. I don't remember if we talked about that last week, but there was a lot of buzz about. Yeah, I think we did talk about Shopify and ChatGPT doing a little deal. Uh, but also, I'm seeing integrated shopping features in my ChatGPT. So if I do a search for certain things, or not even a search, that's the key. It's like I'm actually doing like a deep search research kind of thing, and inside of that, it's bringing me links to products that I can purchase. So it's actually live. It's not interruptive. It's not advertising, but the links themselves allow me to go and shop if I'm interested in doing deeper research. So that's pretty cool.
So it's not necessarily products. It's sometimes maybe tools that would help you do that research. What kind of things are you seeing as you're doing research on products?
So, well, like I was asking, like how to write because I'm writing this offer, for this product that I have, right? And we're writing the copy, and it asked me at the end of the copy, would you like a version that's formatted for Canva, right? So that's if we want a version of this that would be useful for me to put on Canva. Now I'm in ChatGPT, right? Which I know it can't, whether people claim that it can do Canva, it cannot do Canva, right? But it said, hey, let's create a Canva post to promote your launch. And it gives me the copy. And inside of the copy, this is where it's crazy, right? It said to make this process even smoother, you might consider using a customized Canva template designed for product promotions. These templates can help you create professional looking graphics very quickly. Then it says this is the underlying link, sales page promo image templates for Canva, right? And then I click on that and it takes me to an Etsy store where I can actually purchase some promo image templates for Canva. So it's given me that Etsy store, and it gave me another uh, place called Empower Shop. So it's like, oh, now I see how they are going to add, you know, uh, shoppable links inside of your content. So it's not interrupting the content, it's not an ad in the content, but it's got a little tag, a price tag next to it, letting you know that's a shoppable link. It's
Oh, so
huge.
it's a little okay. Okay. That's a nice way to do it without being all in your face and interruptive and
Absolutely.
obtrusive and all that sort of thing. That's always nice. It's just like, hey, here's a little reference point, and the reference. And I'm surprised. So Canva doesn't have it where people can create templates inside of Canva and sell them inside of Canva yet.
No, Canva does not have a store in Canva. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. They should. They should. But, there's a lot of Etsy sellers that have these pre-done templates that you can use. I mean, Canva itself has dozens and dozens of templates, thousands of templates inside of it as well. So, but no, I don't think there is a way for you to be a vent of content in Canva, which might be something they might think about. I'm sure probably
I
on the
mean,
horizon.
store made apps like, $1 billion business, right?
Right.
Other things have existed inside of that. And speaking of like that kind of stuff, I saw one, and you know me, I'm fintech and all that, and you're from the ecom, so I know you're interested in that stuff also. I saw a thing about Coinbase, and there's an old um, internet protocol that's part of the HTTP, and there was a HTTP 402. You've seen the HTTP 404, like that, you ended up in a bad website. So 402 is a payment required request within HTTP protocol, right?
Hmm.
And so Coinbase is kind of built on top of that and has now created what they call, so they say like credit cards and debit cards and other payment systems like PayPal and that kind of stuff. That was created before like AI, right? And they're saying that a lot of these AI agents, when they're doing API calls and stuff like that, they're having to kind of like pay for it as they're doing API calls. And so they're saying this new 402 HTTP 402, essentially, with their stuff on top of it, is going to be perfect for those AI agents and like billing in real time, as they're doing API calls and all that sort. Not necessarily just the API, but also to the customer that may be in between, the provider and,
Oh,
the
that'd be cool.
end user customer, essentially, right? Not the end user, but the customer that's selling to the end user, right? So it's there's a lot going on in that in the payments around AI this week and e-commerce. It seems like they're all kind of loading up on the e-commerce and the social. We kind of talked about that. Um, and one other one, and then I'll shut up and let you talk again.
Go,
Excuse me.
go.
Stripe announced yesterday. This guy Nate that I follow, the guy that wears the beanies and all that, he was talking about Stripe has written some kind of a protocol, some kind of a I don't know what the right word is, some kind of system whereby uh, they say large language models work good because it takes like many instances of statements about this or that, and it kind of like, okay, here's the aggregate average of that statement. Most people said it this way, so we're going to put it out this way, right? They're saying that payments is a lot like English, that there's a syntax to it, that it's pretty much the same sometimes over and over, and it may be pretty much the same when it's going down this pipe, and it may be a little different going down this pipe, but it's the same going down this pipe all the time, right? So they've created some kind of AI system on the fraud side, right, to stop the fraud, because that's the biggest loss of cash capital, right, annually. And apparently have been able to go from like 54% success rate of stopping fraud to 94% success rate in
Wow.
weeks, in just weeks of deploying this thing. That's
And
incredible stuff.
how does it work?
It's the
Yeah.
black box in my mind, right? So apparently, financial transactions are very analogous to English transactions, right? They're very much the same. The syntax, the methodology, and actually even the transmission and stuff back and forth, right? Of the what they call it, the ack and the knack, right? I send, you acknowledge, you send back, right? That kind of stuff. As much as I keep trying to kind of get away from fintech, like I'm moving on to AI, like fintech's like, hey, we're still right here and we're very prevalent in AI, right? And, so
Yeah. I
interesting.
mean, they have to be. They have to be. You
Yeah.
know, that's cool. That's cool. Also, I think from base models, I saw some enhancements to Anthropic, which I'm glad to know they did something. Because every time I was out there using Claude, it was giving me errors all the first part of this week. And anytime you're messing around with these frontier models, and they give you errors like, it was a connectivity error, and then you do refresh and it would pick back up. But anytime you see these hiccups, it's usually seems like they're rolling out some new enhancements,
Oh yeah.
and that's why they're giving you the hiccups. So I noticed Claude automatically now gives you some suggested follow ups to whatever you're doing, right? So it'll give you like three options on what you might want to do next. So I noticed that at the beginning of the week. Then during the end of the week here, I noticed that ChatGPT added that as well. However, in the ChatGPT version, if you hover over the suggestion, automatically you can click it and it will put it into the prompt window and submit it without you having to type. That's pretty huge advancements, and in my opinion, just because we're moving from just a regular chat window to being able to do more selective stuff inside the environment. So, ugh, I just see there's a lot that's probably about to come down the peak when it, you know, comes to the user interface of these tools. So it's not just going to be, we're moving from the green screen to a GUI interface almost. And I think that's what we're about to see happening in the next couple of months or so. We're going to see some really good advancements with the interface.
So we're moving from the DOS prompt, so to speak, right? C
Yep.
drive root, you're right, and you type in CD root directory. I don't know; it's been a long time, but to that
Yeah.
the GUI interface of drag and drop and icons, and so it's really it's kind of sounded like you would think the GTP would be almost like a virtual machine running inside of your machine, right? Like
Yeah.
a VM almost, right?
Yeah, I'd love to see that with a good GUI interface on it.
Yeah.
It's like push this button here or this button and get some activity or something going. And then, of course, I would like to use voice mode more. And in order to do that, sometimes I need to be prompted on what should I say next. What's the natural progression in whatever it is we're building or working on at that time. So I love those suggestions.
So you think it's going to change tremendously in the next three to 6 months? You think?
I think so. I'm feeling like it will, because these are small advancements in terms of what they have to do on the back end. And as AI gets better and better at coding with a lot of the vibe stuff that's coming out, right? And then I guess ChatGPT bought one,
Yeah.
right? Or
Windsurf.
OpenAI
Yeah.
just bought a
Three
coding
billion.
platform, right? Google has Firebase, which is their coding platform, and I don't see those being separate for long. They're going to be integrated into, the front end, and part of that, I think, will we'll see showing up in the next few months.
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy race. I read about another tool that was released today that's essentially going up against. It's going up against everybody. It's going up against Canva. It's going up against Adobe. It's going up against Wix. It's going against this. It's going against that because it's doing all of the stuff. It's not just doing the design. It's Figma. Figma's
Yeah.
going up against all of them, right? Because it's doing. Uh, we'll help you make a website. We'll help you do coding. We'll help you do design. We'll help you do. You're talking about in Canva doing bulk stuff, right? Like a lot of people say, do faceless bulk videos, right? Stuff like that. Apparently the updates to Figma that just came out are going to do quite a bit. And they're even talking about they're taking on Hostinger, they're taking on Wix, they're even calling out WordPress, right, to do this thing, right? So uh, Figma got acquired a while back, not by Adobe, but by somebody else. I forget who it was.
Hmm. Now that's cool because Um, as I was looking at all of this stuff coming out, I'm like, man, Figma's in trouble, right? But I think a lot of these, the single focused expert tools are going to be able to very easily add on um, functionality that you couldn't develop before, and now you're able to literally, one shot code it, and it's going to happen. So it's like Zoom. I noticed them, like inside of Zoom, they've got a docs that you can use now. They got their doc sort of looks like what's the notebook app? Oh man, I just lost it. But their docs, it's like a combination of Google Docs and that. Oh man, I cannot. I'm hoping it
Notebook
was going to come.
LM? Is it Notebook LM
No,
you're talking?
no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no. It's just a different way to present notes.
Like Notion or one of those?
Notion. So
Okay,
yes,
Notion.
they've
Okay,
got their
okay.
own version, and it's like a combined doc and Notion notes inside of Loom or Zoom, right? So you're not going to have to leave Zoom to do some of your calendar work or your content creation work, And what is happening is these guys are just saying, hey, make me something that looks like Notion. And
Here's a
the AI
screenshot, right?
codes it. Yeah, exactly. And the AI codes it. And now that becomes part of their suite of tools. So where this goes, I don't know.
I mean, if you really think about it, now you've got Canva, you got Adobe, you've got Wix, you got I don't know, now Figma, right? And like we've said over the last couple of weeks, right? Facebook's putting in their layer, right? Everybody's creating this all-in-one portal to do it from the beginning to the end, from even
Right.
ideation, right? You don't know what you want to do. You know you want to do something, but you don't know what it is, all the way through to, hey, I didn't know what it was, but I just got paid for it, right?
Yeah, here's the
you know?
launch. Yeah. So from ideation to launch, there's everybody's trying to, that's the new race.
Yeah.
How can we be an all-in-one suite of tools?
For everything,
Hmm.
right? For everything. I didn't even realize, I told you I've been using the Meta to generate the images, even on the Meta.ai, the web based interface. Once you get done with your image and you scroll down, there's a whole social thing directly under the image interface now. That didn't exist a week ago,
Yeah,
right? And it's everybody sharing what they made on that platform.
right.
And it's only happening on that platform.
For now.
Yeah.
But I
um,
mean, I think those are going to be the silos. It's like, okay, I'm going to be a meta creator. I'm going to be an open AI creator. And I'm going to be a Figma creator. You know what I mean? And you're going to learn those tools. You're going to learn the processes and you'll become expert on specific platforms versus specific disciplines. Ooh, that's
Write that
crazy.
down. Write that down. Hey
Yeah.
Siri, record that.
I mean, just look at this. Like, we do this um one thing, and now after we do the show, you got to edit the show, then you got to take the edited version and put that up on Opus clips, and then you got to make clips from that, and then from the clips you got to post it to the social, you know. But having all that happen in one tool is where we're going. So it's like as soon as we hang up from this quote call, it's going to go out and create the content and distribute the content automatically.
Yeah, and I would love that because as much as I love doing it, it does take time to do it, right? I mean, any of this stuff that we're doing, right?
Yes.
It regardless of how much this stuff is helping us, it would be probably another 8 to 10 hours if it wasn't helping us, right? As far as like the AI clip generation and that kind of stuff that it's done, right? But it still could be optimized, improved, streamlined, and that's kind of the dream of most marketers. But at the same time, it kind of gets rid of a lot of people in the marketing industry that are essentially just those grunts that are doing that stuff, right? That are, cutting and pasting and posting and, all that stuff, right? It gets rid of a lot of that mundane, repetitious stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the stuff that you used to have to outsource to others, we're going to be able to outsource to the agent, and the agent will handle that kind of low level stuff. There will still be room for the human in the loop because
Oh, yeah.
somebody's got to, sign off on it, say, yes, this is right, or this tone of voice needs to change. This is what we're trying to do with it. But going forward, all of these low level, not highly skilled tasks, I think are going to be handed over to AI.
Yeah. And it can really do it. And I was watching an interview the other day. The guy said essentially that what human, one, wants a job that's mundane and repetitious and doing that? Don't you want to, do anything more than that, right? Do you just want to do that, right? Because if you do, you're probably going to be replaced, right? But I found interesting. I was watching last night. I've been watching Leo Laporte since I was first got into tech, right? Screensavers back in the day and all that stuff, right? He's got a show called on his Twit network called Intelligent Machines. Now he's got Jeff Jarvis on there, and last night he had the guy from I don't know if you've ever seen Flipboard. That was really, really popular like 10 years ago. It's a new way to interact with content on the web. It was kind of like a magazine. It was more that the way that the content was presented than anything. It was a really unique interface. Sometimes it would flop this way, sometimes it would scroll. It was a very cool thing, right? So
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember.
this thing, Mark, his last name is McCue, MCCUE. Don't remember his first name. I want to say it's Mark, but it may be something else. He's developed a new thing. Remember, we were talking about the Fediverse and all these things that use Mastodon and Blue Sky. That's called the something. Anyway, so all these companies that are using this protocol. Um, in all these versions of Mastodon and everything, you can now go into this Surf app that he has created, and you can sign in with your Mastodon or sign in with your Blue Sky account, and then you can see all the different people from a bunch from threads, from Mastodon, from here, from there, anywhere that's using this protocol. You can just bring people in and discover it, and it's just in beta. But he's also working on that payment layer that we were talking about. There's a payment layer in that Fediverse, and he's saying that like it's a web browser for what they call the open social web, right? It's an open protocol. Same thing that Blue Sky's on. I forget the name of it. It's right on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Right, and so it was just very interesting to see that, like, you know, he's was somebody that built something within the browser, and now he's saying this open social browser is really going to be a thing moving forward because people don't want to be in those silos, right? That we're talking about, right? Especially as you get more into AI, more into Web3, more into blockchain, crypto, all the as we start to go out into that world, we're going to need something that's not siloed, right? So we can communicate and everything else. Very interesting show. Surf, social.surf, I think was it's just in test flight now. It's just an iOS beta at this point. There's not even an Android yet. And on a test flight, you can only have like up to 10,000 users. So he's getting ready to launch a whole nother set of users. But this guy was very successful with Flipboard. It's something that still operates. A lot of people use it. So he has a track record of somebody that's done new and unique things in the web
Mm.
experience, right? So,
Yeah, I think we're hitting this point of if we go way back like 25 years ago, which for the young people listening, you're in elementary school at the time, maybe just getting ready to go to school. But there was this platform called AOL, right? And AOL ran on the web. It was a web-based application. At some level, people would start giving you like their link to their website, right? And their website would just be a blog or whatever. But they would give you the link to the website and you would click on the link and AOL would say, "Hey, you're leaving our safe environment and going to the wild, wild west of the web. Do you want to go?" Right? Which it was almost like, it was this guarded wall that you would stay in and it would be really nice and safe. And then all of a sudden, if you leave, we're warning you, you're about to leave, right? And now today, the concept of that is very foreign. However, we're still kind of in our silos, like you said, of, okay, I'm doing this on Instagram, or I'm doing this on TikTok, or I'm watching this on YouTube. I actually think those kind of walls are getting ready to break as well, where I want to be able to have a curated feed of content that can come from anywhere. It could be any format, whether it be video, text, audio, and it would be very directed specifically for my interest. And it could come from any platform. And that is going to be and is starting to be the new breakout. We're
It's
breaking out of all of these uh, silos that have been put up for us.
it's
Hmm.
funny that you mentioned the AOL because that was his argument exactly when he was, presenting it on the show. He's like, that safety, we go there, but he says like other things that happened would not have that happened on the internet, would not have happened if we'd have stayed within the safety of AOL, right?
Right,
A lot of things that got built. Amazon, there's one for right there, right? Amazon wouldn't have existed inside of AOL because AOL wouldn't allowed it to happen, right?
right.
So uh, I think you're right. The safety of you know, we're in a group, the Facebook group, or we're in the LinkedIn group, or we're on this platform, or we're on that platform. So we're safe. That concept, I think, is totally foreign. And I think you're right. I think it's time to, uh, and that's very much the Web3 idea. When with Web3, essentially, you bring your wallet to identify yourself, you plug it into the computer, and then all your peeps and all your creations and all your networks and everything are just there because you've logged in with your wallet. That was the whole Web3 concept. Instead of going to someplace and logging in with the user ID password and they've got your whole network and all your creations and all your people there, you've got them all, and then you're just going and interacting with them, right?
Hmm.
Once you've signed in.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I mean, when you talk about that makes me really think. It's like I don't need all of these sign-ons and create an account and all of
One,
that crap. You just have
one,
one.
and you scan it with your eyeball. No, I'm kidding.
It's gonna have to be. No, it's gonna have to be at some point because that's
Yeah,
the only thing. Were you talking about that last week where
yeah,
the eyeball
yep, yeah.
is the only thing? It's like, okay, I could see it. I could see it. And I mean, I think before, if you'd have asked me 5 years ago, it would not even probably 3 years ago, I'd been like, huh, what? Stop. But look at how far we've come since 2022 when we first had glimpse of AI through ChatGPT. And I mean, it's just unbelievable how fast we are moving and even how fast, the audience of people are adopting. They're adopting very rapidly, even though the average person probably not watching this kind of content that we're putting out. You guys are not average. You're on the way, early adopter, cutting edge of things. Um, but even the laggards are starting to get in to the AI, and it's going to be moving ever faster, because it's that snowball effect. You start from a little teeny snowball, and as you roll it, it gets bigger. The bigger it gets, the more surface space that it's able to pick up more snowflakes, and it gets bigger and bigger. And then that's where we are now.
Yeah. I was watching a video posted in the newsletter this morning. Sequoia Capital, which is one of the biggest ones, right? They're right there behind Andreessen Horowitz. They just did a thing called AI Ascent annual event, right? Apparently, this is the first year since 2025, but apparently it's the first year they've done it. And their opening keynote was essentially two of their senior partners just coming out and saying, founders, you know, let's pick up the pace. Let's go, right? Let's go. The time is now. You can do it super cheap. You can do it without a lot of co-founders, right? So like one or two people can like really like roll something out. Uh, you can do it very rapidly now. You can do it without a whole lot of money. So we're not going to be writing those big checks moving forward. No, but you
Mm,
still got to do it, right? And it was just like it, it's going to be so much easier right now to do it than ever before, right? And essentially the barriers are dropping, and
yeah, yeah,
and everywhere, right? If you're paying attention, it's not only dropping in the financial, it's making that easier. It's making the creation easier. It's making the distribution easier. It's making everything easier. There's no stopping it. So much so that this morning, Israeli-backed startup AI 21, I believe it was, $300 million for building their own LLM.
mm,
Brand new. This is their Series C or D, I think it was. They've already raised like 600 million, so they're almost close to. Their valuation is six hundred and something million, so they're almost unicorn status, right? And I've never heard of them before today, right? And that's how much this stuff, just bunches and bunches and bunches of money. I think they got $300 million today.
okay. Well, I know where we're going with this. Sounds like the bubble's coming.
Yeah. Um, I'm not sure. Do you really think there's going to be a bubble? Is it going
There
to
always
burst?
when has there never been a bubble?
So we're not at the type of the hype cycle yet. There's still more
No.
hype coming.
Oh, there's plenty more hype coming. This is like somebody starting to blow in the straw. That's
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
Yeah, this bubble's going to get really huge, then it'll burst.
I
And
mean, like, how much huger can it get? I mean, more money
it,
than ever has been raised. I mean, like,
I mean, if you think about it, what kind of industries can this eat in full? That's how much money's in it
yeah. Yeah, and it's like you said, it's not just U.S. and it's not just
worldwide.
companies, it's countries, right? It's countries
Right.
going to go up against, because this is the holy grail, so to speak, right? Indiana Jones was looking for the wrong stuff. He should have been looking for AI, right?
I think we've all been looking for AI for years, right? And I don't think this is even it. Which is this, especially I heard I don't know who it was, but one of the founders of AI is like, this ain't even it. This we're not going to get to. He was basically saying we're not going to get to general intelligence through LLMs, and that's pretty fascinating because this is the race we're in right now. It's like which LLM is going to get to, general artificial intelligence. And he's like, neither one of them, because there's always, limitations.
Yeah, that's you're talking about Yan from Meta,
Yeah,
Yan
yeah.
LeCun. I read some of his stuff, what he's doing at Meta to train Meta AI. Right, it's called VJEPA, so it's an acronym,
Mm,
and essentially what they're doing is they're using uh, let's say they're exposing the AI to two different video screens, and one has the full image with not a pixel missing, and the other one is as if some corrosion happened, right? And it's not always in the same place throughout the video, and there's just different missing parts, and it tries to get it to fill in the missing parts,
hmm.
right? And thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of exposing it to video, so it starts to understand, one, physics, two, it understands separation and depth, and x and y and z axis, right, essentially. Very interesting, and he's not training his stuff, the Meta LLM, the same way that everybody else is training their stuff.
Right, right. That's what it was. He was basically saying that it's almost impossible for the current LLMs to understand physical realm without a physical body.
Yeah, he wants to embody it as quickly as
And yeah,
possible.
yeah,
In the
yeah.
meantime, they got the glasses and everybody's running around videotaping and taking pictures. And who knows if those things are videotaping and taking pictures even when the light's not blinking, right? Who
I'm sure
knows?
they are.
Right? It's at least listening for you, right? It's listening for your voice to go off. So it's at least listening. But I think that there's so much more, right? That in order to really get this stuff to where it really understands how we live, right? How a human exists, how a human goes through their day to day. It's going to have to live the life of a human being, not just walk around a factory and moving thing from one place to another repetitively, right? But, get out of bed on one side, get out of bed on the other side, right? Stub your toe on the thing as you're walking to the bathroom in the morning, right? All that kind of thing, live as a
Yeah,
human. Seriously.
yeah. Which for good or bad, I don't. We don't know what that will bring. You know. And I was just thinking about this too. It's like the human brain is so vast. Um, for AI to actually get here, it's yeah, I just can't imagine it getting here as quickly as I've had thought in the past. You know, because I'm just thinking about like dreams. How do dreams? How can dreams feel so real until you wake up?
Oh, yeah.
And then even after you wake up, sometimes the hangover from the realness of the dream still lasting, right? And all of that's being processed, and it's all the workings of your brain that we don't even control.
No,
I can't control my dreams.
no.
I, and if you try to use this meat brain to mimic the computer brain, well, is it going to have the same? I don't know if flaws is the word, but it's going to dream. It's going to have hallucinations. That's what we call them, hallucination right now. But maybe they're just dreams. I don't know. You know, but here we are.
Yeah, it's I tend to agree with you. Like, if you think of the idea of a human, like, right, usually after, I don't know, 12, 14, 16 hours, everybody's like, okay, I'm tired. And they just lay down
Shut
and they
off.
go into a completely different realm, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And, and there's no, interacting with them. There's no nothing. And they're in this state, right? And then they come out of that state and they act as if, like, really that state just never happened, right? Oh, I got to drink some coffee so I forget about that state and get moving with whatever I got to do, right? It's just and yet we don't allow the LLM or the AI to ever rest, right? It's available 24/7, 365, holidays, weekends, nights, whenever you want to hit it up, right? I mean, it's supposed to be there. And, you know, I kind of,
It will.
do you think it'll get holidays and holiday pay and that kind of stuff?
Will it need holiday and holiday pay? That's the question. Will it need that? It might not need that, but I'm guessing it'll need something that's artificial. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
I
going to
don't know
need
what it
updates,
is.
right? It's going to be need to, like any computer, right? Shut it down and reboot it every once in a
It's
while,
going to
and
need a reboot. That's yes.
get a little update, maybe some fresher memory, a newer hard drive, a faster channel. Who knows, right? But
Right.
it's
It's going
just
to,
kind of
my
crazy.
curiosity is, will it need similar stimulation that, like, we as humans need to continue to go forward? I can work only so many hours and then I got to shut my brain off.
Yeah,
I got to unplug. Some people have never unplugged, don't even know how good it is to unplug and then plug yourself back in, and how much that's going to help, you know, with your productivity. Will that be the same for computers at some level once they are on the super intelligence level? I don't know. And what does that look like? What will their, you know, downtime look like? It's going to be weird.
yeah.
Yeah, we have introduced a new being. This is the closest we are going to get to alien intelligence right now. Artificial intelligence is alien intelligence.
I really believe you're right, and it's funny that the acronym seems to align: AI, alien intelligence, right? um, it it I uh, it really seems like there's that whole thing of we discovered transistors the same time that the spaceships crashed out there in Area 51, right? Uh, did we discover AI the same time that some event happened that we weren't aware of, that because there's been like there was one today, a circle of smoke like just floating above DC or something, right? It was more like an oval, it looked like a track, but it was and they're like, oh well, it looks like something exploded and just a plume of smoke went up and it formed a circle,
Really?
and like but the thing was like 5 miles long, right? So it's
Really?
like, yeah, oh, every day there. If you dig deep enough, every day there's a sighting, or something weird, some kind of anomaly that's happening. So, um, eh, listen, they did
Wow.
find some planet way on the outer edge of somewhere that they found like some kind of microbe or bioorganism that it would have had to have water, it would have had to have air, oxygen, and it would have had to have like some kind of nutrient to feed it for it to grow. So they're saying that they found another planet essentially that can support life, but it's you know it's way out there. So
It's way out there. Huh?
yeah, way out beyond Pluto and all that, right? So I got my Kumio
Oh
cup
my
here.
gosh.
Yeah, Hello Kitty with the little evil friend. That's her little evil friend. That's the little bad kid.
We love kitties.
I
I
just
got a kitty. I'm a kitty guy. I can't believe it, but I am. I always hated cats growing up, but then I
really.
got one.
I
Yeah, I
always
was
had them
never a
growing
big
up, and
cat
I
fan.
had them when I was married, but I don't have it now because I'm in a one bedroom, and like there's no room for a cat and me in a one bedroom. So
Yeah. Yeah, my mother never liked cats, so we never liked cats until I got one. Then I'm like, oh, cats aren't bad. I like cats.
yeah, they kind of go hang out on their own. They'll
Yeah,
come
they
see you
take
when
care
they
of
need you.
themselves.
If they
Yes,
want food or want the litter box
exactly.
cleaned up, they'll let you know, right?
They
Until
take
then,
care of themselves. That is hilarious, dude. And I love it. I love it.
yeah. So where are
You
we at?
know,
Well, we got 45 minutes. You got any last minute AI stuff you want to talk about there? Anything? I saw you were
not
coding the other
really.
day.
What's that?
You were doing a live coding sesh the other day.
Yeah, what was I making? I'm trying to remember. I know I was playing around with something and I was I what did I don't even remember. I really I know I was on live and I was showing people how, oh, I know what it was. I was actually um, vibe coding, but I wasn't using a platform. I was just doing it all in um, Claude. And so I would go back and forth with Claude, and I ended up building this, pretty easy to use application that I needed. So I am putting together a training course, right? And I'm doing the whole thing, of course, in AI, and I'm trying to get the process together. Well, one of the final process is that when I make um, a module for the training course, the module is supposed to run about 15 to 20 minutes, right? And I'm doing audio to go with a screen slideshow, right? Um, so at first I would write the script for the audio, and then I would take that whole like 20-minute script and turn it into AI voice. The problem is that somewhere in that 20-minute period, the AI voice would almost lose its context. So it wouldn't feel like it was smooth all the way through. So what I ended up doing is like, okay, if I cut it down into like 4-minute, 5-minute segments and string those together, it sounded great, right? So let's say I've got 20 minutes of content. I've done it in 4-minute segments. That's going to give me, I don't know, what's 6 to 8 little um, uh, voice MP3s, right? Then I'm like, okay, I've got to take, I was going the first time through. Am I going too deep or are you
No, no,
following me?
no, no. Go,
Okay, I just
go.
want to make sure that you're following
No.
because I'm like, am I going? So what would happen was the first time through, I took the audios, right, and I string them all together. Now I got the 20-minute, and it sounds good. But then it was like, okay, now I got to listen to all of the 20 minutes to figure out where the slides change. And I was like, man, that's going to take me forever. I have 16 modules to do that on, and every time, and I got to go, and I'm like, that's just too long. And I'm like, all I really need is for slide one to link up with slide one's audio and just do that for all 20 slides. There was no tool that I could find on the web that would do just that. If I had slides 1 to 20, I had MP3s 1 to 20. All you have to do is make sure that the slide lasted exactly to the same speed or time length as the audio. Nothing I could find could do that. And so I went to Claude and said, here's what I'm trying to build. Can you do it? And it started walking me through how to write a shell program that it would look at two folders. It would find all the files in the folders and match them together. And then once it did that, it would turn it into one long 20-minute movie. And that sucker worked like a charm.
Really?
And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, this vibe coding thing it's a whole nother level. Whole nother
So
level.
you were able to solve and how long was the coding session? How long did it take you to solve that problem?
I'll say, well, okay, that's a good point. If I had known what I was wanting, it'd have probably been done in 2 hours. It took me a total of 6 to 8 hours because I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? I had to try one thing, like, yeah, I can make this easier, that kind of thing. So it took me about 6 hours to get it all the way through. Actually, you know what? When I'm saying it took 6 hours, that is also processing time of making all 16 of the videos or movies.
And how long would it taken you manually to do 16 videos? That would have been 16 days, easy.
Yeah,
succeeding.
I would have said it would take me probably 5 days, but I
Right.
wouldn't be able to do much else.
Right.
And I would had to be really into the process because I'm listening and I'm like, oh, there's where the slides go, and I got to change, and I got to change. Then I got to, I'd probably mark it all up, and then I would take the slide, drag it in, and then lengthen it long enough so that it would do that. Oh, and once I got it working one time through, I played it. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. It's kind of boring though, because it would just move from slide to slide. Then I went back to the code and I said, could you make it do transitions between the slides? Dude, it did it. And here's the crazy thing is that the transition itself was its own movie. It would
Really.
have yes, it would have slide one, transition one, slide two, transition two. So, and it put all of these together all the way
So
through.
each transition was different too. It
It could
wow.
have been. It could have been. I just wanted the same
Yeah,
transition because
yeah.
I didn't want it to get all too fancy. But I think it could have did literally anything I would have wanted. I think it could do. It's like, okay, now I've taken the long movie, and now I'm putting I put that into CapCut to get the captions on top. But I think I could actually make this write the captions at the same time.
Probably.
I
Probably.
probably could do that too. So it's like, but here is an application that I've created for myself to do exactly what I needed. And I could literally now, and I might do this, I might take this, package it up, run it through one of those, vibe coders, and get it to put a front end on it and make it usable for other people.
It's a product. I mean, and I know you'll use it again to create other stuff, and you'll
Yeah.
continue to work on it, and continue to improve it, right? And now you got a product. Just before we started, I saw Chris Perillo. He's been around in the tech thing forever.
Forever.
TLDR, right? He vibe coded a soundboard. You know, if you're on a podcast, you got to have the fart noises and the
Uh-huh.
audience and the baby crying and all. He vibe coded a soundboard for himself in like 25 minutes flat. Co-
Wow.
Complete soundboard for his podcast, right? With all the different, and he just click them, and it was just all right there, ready to go. No hardware, no anything, right? Amazing, right? I've
Man.
really got to dig in. I'm really trying to find a problem that I want to solve, right? And
Uh-huh.
right now, for me, a problem that I see is kind of like what you said earlier of like build something in social and distribute it everywhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing that does that really well. That would be something I would want to create, but I kind of want to stick to my idea of doing this automated thing. I just got to, this is going to be a big project though. I kind of want to do a little thing to kind of get myself started. Uh, Real quickly, and then we'll close out. I was talking with Dennis Wilson yesterday from DBC that does the voice agents, right? He's got a new
Uh-huh.
thing called ShowSync that he built. A pain point essentially that he's found in going to trade shows is a lot of the trade shows themselves some kind of thing with a provider where you can scan badges or you can put it in a machine or whatever, and they can give you their number or whatever, and you get their contact information. He's
Right.
got a thing whereby you can take their picture and you can take a picture of their badge, and it will go get all their contact information, right? It will follow up for you, right? It will set an appointment for you following your initial contact. It will send the emails. It will make the phone calls. It will get the appointment for you, everything. All you got to do is take a picture of the person and scan their ID or scan their business card.
Crazy.
And the LLM goes to work for you.
I can totally
And
see that. Easy.
easy, easy, easy. So
Yeah.
that's a new tool. I'm beta testing it for him. I'm working on it right now. I'm going to be doing some stuff with it over the weekend. I can send you a link to it. I'll let you play around with it. I think it could be used by both the exhibitor who is dealing with like multiple people coming by the booth, but it could also be used by like the person that attends a lot of shows and wants to
Yeah,
follow up,
just for
right?
networking.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
networking period. Yeah,
yeah, totally. I can see that 100.
yep. So
100.
there we go, folks. Another fantastic episode of. Look at all the stuff we're doing. Look at all this stuff we're telling you about here. Look at all this stuff we're all learning and doing and being and all that. It's crazy.
Hey,
So
shout out to those of you who are listening, though. Let us know. What do you want to talk about? What are you working on? And become part of the conversation.
we would love that. We would love that. And we're going to be back again next week. We're doing it every week. And John's already got the thumbs up, so I'm going to get mine out there. Shout out, wah! Here we go. There you go, Facebook. Thank you. And so tune in again next week, folks, and we'll have another exciting episode of the AI Bros. This is the 5th one. So next week it's number 6. Number 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
We actually are doing something.
Yes.
Fantastic, man. I will talk to you next week.
Thanks, John.
Peace.